Hello, and welcome to a long overdue video. I have never used Centrifuse, which I believe is what this weapon's called. Centrifuse, okay. I have never once used this weapon. I have seen people use it. The friend who is on the channel sometimes quite likes it. I have not used it. I don't even know what it does. So sprinting, sliding, firing this up, build a temporary electric charge, increasing range and reload speed, final blows, high charge, cause explosions, and maximum charge explosions on target. That sounds straightforward enough. So I just have to move. And the wee dial charges up. Interesting. And then it goes down. So it wants you to be on the move all the time. I get it, I get it. Let's try the lost sector quickly. Hello. So it's worth just being on the move. No, I quite like this. Okay. This is quite fun actually. And it recharges your... well, it refills your magazine to a certain extent. Guess what is that for kills when fully charged or something like that? Oh, it refills whilst it's charged. Interesting, okay. So it's charged, I'm running around, and it refills its ammo. That's handy. Okay. I'm just gonna finish this guy off. So it doesn't do it whilst it's not charged. Makes sense. If I run around, then it does start charging. Very nice, okay. So already right off the bat, I can tell that this gun would benefit immensely from a faster recharge rate of the ammo. Perhaps the catalyst does that? I'm not too sure. But if it was always recharging, not always, but if it recharged a bit quicker whilst not using the weapon actively, it would, you wouldn't have to reload and it would be really good. So I think, hopefully that's what the catalyst does, but I guess we'll find out. Since I've done that, let's dive into a salvage activity. Sprinting gradually reloads up. Sprinting just. Okay. So I'm assuming this weapon was kind of made for, well, not made for, but made with salvage and deep dives in mind, considering it came out with this season. So it'll be interesting to see how well it performs. It seems like it's quite good for ad clear. So I imagine, seems like salvage does have quite a lot of enemies, it should do quite well. I guess this would pair quite well with Strand, considering Strand's a movement based subclass. I wonder if grappling counts as movement. I mean, in fairness, just walking around. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. Sliding counts. Jumping. Normal jumping doesn't, but sprint jumping does. But it looks like moving in any capacity whilst... so you have to shoot the gun. I see. Okay. So shooting the gun whilst moving. Shooting the gun in general makes it charge up. So sprinting in general reloads the weapon. It doesn't have to be charged up, which is nice. And as long as you're shooting the weapon, it builds up the capacitor charge. So it doesn't even have to be the weapon. So if you're stuck and you're not able to move around too much, then you can just shoot your gun a wee bit and then you can... I don't know what situation you'd be in where you can't run, but maybe if you're doing a weird jump. And then I think you don't want to ever reload because I think that resets the charge. We'll find out in a second. It does. Okay. So you want to never reload, is what I'm learning. I wouldn't say it's incredible for killing tougher enemies, but for killing red bars, it works pretty well. Although I kind of feel like I have to play like a Call of Duty player, doing like jump shots and trying to move at all times. Granted, moving around is the best thing you can do to not have enemies hit you. So it is promoting a good way to play the game, I guess. But it's making me move around more than normal, and I feel like I always have to be moving. Which again is good for survivability, but I feel like I'm just like, I don't know, overdosed in caffeine. As long as you have sprint held down or like pressed, like toggled, it works. Even if you're doing like a weird jump, it refills your ammo. As long as it registers as sprinting. I can see this gun being quite good for new players because it does promote. I mean, I mean, not saying it's bad for experienced players. I'm quite enjoying this, but I think for newer players it could be quite useful because it does teach you to run around a lot, basically. And yeah, there's a difference between running around aimlessly and running around trying to stay alive, but it at least promotes some sort of a good playstyle. I mean, relying on movement to charge the weapon's ability is quite unique. I think. I'm sure there's other exotics which have a similar idea, but you could pair this with a movement exotic and just be jumping all over the place. I'm using Orpheus rigs because I just use Orpheus rigs all the time. You know, for a hunter, pair them with stompies. But I mean, as you can tell, like, I feel like I always have to be jump shotting and stuff in order to keep the charge up. Which I don't. I mean, I could just sprint around and shoot a few times and whatever, but I think it's my inner Call of Duty player coming back to me. So then if you go to reload and you start sprinting, you can cancel the reload and it'll start recharging your weapon. That's not too bad. Although I think it does still get rid of the charge. Let's try that. As soon as you run out of ammo, does it get rid of the charge? It does. Okay, so there's not really much difference. You're probably better off reloading at that stage. But I mean, hey, if you can't fit in a reload, at least you have some ammo left. I do have to say, the exotic fits the theme of the season. It fits sort of the weathered down aesthetic of Titan. This weapon definitely isn't suited to standing in a circle and shooting at enemies. See, I ran out of ammo there and I still managed to keep the charge, so I'm not really sure. It's if it starts reloading, that's what it is. So if I run out of ammo and I don't start doing the reload animation, it keeps the charge. I see. Interesting. I mean, there's not much point using it against a boss because it's not going to do excessive damage compared to any other primary exotic. Like, it's quite easy to tell that it's a add clear an exotic, that sort of thing. It's quite an interesting exotic though, I have to say. I quite enjoy using it there. This weapon seems quite good. I enjoyed using it in Salvage and in that last sector. I'm going to keep using it for the rest of the season, probably in the next season, and probably do some sort of a review on it. But I think aesthetically it looks really nice. It's a nice animation it has when you cycle through the charges. You can see it change. I mean, this is full charge. This is 4 bars, 3 bars, 2 bars, 1 bar. So it is quite interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed using it. I hope that the catalyst, we'll find out what the catalyst is. I hope that it is a faster recharge of the ammo while sprinting. But I mean, likely it's probably going to be some just idle perk like less recoil or something along those lines, but I guess we'll find out. So the catalyst effect apparently says it adds the static build-up perk. So while amplified, this weapon gradually gains overcharge. Amplified is of course the, I don't know what people call them, but the sort of special perk for arc subclasses. So whilst you're amplified, the weapon gradually gains overcharge, which I guess is nice. It sort of synergizes quite nice with the arc subclasses then, considering it is an arc weapon. But I still think it would have been nice to have the ammo recharge a bit quicker. That might have made it a bit too good if you never had to reload, but you would still have to manage sprinting and stuff. So I think it would have lended quite well to the playstyle it's already trying to make people adopt by using the exotic. But honestly, it's quite a fun exotic. I don't think it's extremely competitive. I don't think it would be really good for high level content necessarily, but for just playing the game, playing the seasonal content and that sort of stuff, I think it's perfectly good. I quite enjoyed using it, and honestly, the key thing with exotics, I think, is how fun they are to use, and this exotic is definitely quite fun, and I can see myself using it quite a lot, so yep, that's about it. I'm sure I will do some sort of review of the exotic in a few weeks' time, but as for now, that's my first time using Centrifuse, and for the record, there are currently 19 days left of the season, so it only took me about 2.5 months to get around to using this gun finally. And then we have the ornament, which I also would quite like, but I don't know, I might use this, might not. It's quite nice, but don't know. I quite like how the weapon looks at the moment. But yeah, so that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.